Thanks, everybody. And actually, on that note, I guess I want to start by saying thank you to the volunteers, to the staff, Microsoft for hosting, the sponsors for putting this together. I mean, for a grassroots, community-driven event, B-Sides is hella cool. And I just have a tremendous amount of gratitude to be able to be here today as a participant and to be able to share some of the stuff that we've had. So can we get a round of applause for the volunteers, for the organization? I mean, damn, super cool. So yeah, we are from the Washington State Department of Natural Resources. I'm Ralph. I'm the Chief Information Security Officer.
My name's Liz. I'm the Chief Information Officer, CIO.
And before we get started, the title is An Unexpected Journey. I understand that there's potentially, I guess it's a Lord of the Ring thing, some of you. I'm not really, I don't do the sort of nerd stuff, so I apologize if I led anybody astray into thinking that it might be a nerd thing. So what the hell is this?
What? So is that how the journalist gets in the chat?
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know how that got in there.
Right.
Anyway, so we work for the Washington State Department of Natural Resources. Can anybody tell me what you think when you hear Department of Natural Resources? What does that mean?
Count trees.
Okay, trees. I knew we were going to get trees. Anybody else?
Minerals, mining.
Minerals and mining. Okay, thank you, Pi. Anybody else? What do you think of?
Fish.
Water. Fish. Very good. Okay. Keep it coming. What else do you think? Department of Natural. What do we do at Department of Natural Resources? What do you think that is?
Sunlight.
The sunlight's a new one. I'll take responsibility for that, sure.
GUI ducks. We got GUI ducks.
GUI
That's
ducks,
true.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, these are all spot on. But when I started at DNR 3 years ago, I was blown away by how much stuff we do, right? We've got geology, right? Some people mentioned like rocks, minerals, surface mining.
We've got engineering. We build roads and bridges.
Right. We've got aquatics. We are the first, I think we're the first state agency in the nation to set aside an offshore preserve. We have a kelp forest that is now preserved land.
We have derelict vessel removal. That's part of our aquatics
We have a
team.
dive team.
We
We have cattle.
We have LEOs. We have our own law enforcement officers.
Right, right.
We have wildland fire.
We have wildland fire, yes. DNR is really, really big, and every time I turn around, there's a new thing that I just found out we have a meteorologist. We have our own meteorologist with their own software.
When you're fighting fire, the weather's really important.
Yes, yes, we have a ton of weather apps. So we could talk about this, or I could show you some pretty pictures, right? Several of our teams have really cool technology, really cool cameras, and they take pictures not just of the Nooksack River, what it looked like in 2022, but also over time. And we're looking at what happens with the sediment, what happens upstream, what happens when we have, when we have recreational activity in an area. How does that affect the sediment, both upstream, downstream? What are the impacts to landslides and flooding? We've got these really, really cool cameras on drones that take high-resolution pictures over a period of time. I mean, you said we comb the state?
We overfly the state every 10 years. And every 10 years, that technology gets better and more refined and bigger.
Right, larger and larger files, and we don't get rid of the old ones. We just hang on to them. And we make this kind of data available to the public. So we also not only need to collect it, store it, save it in a way that makes sense, but it needs to be available to people as well.
Well, right. So we don't only use this for scientific research. We use it for tsunami response, to predict landslides. And like you said, we make this available, legislatively mandated to make this available for the entire population. So there are people out there, from rock hounds to oil companies, that download this data every year, our entire data set. That gets expensive, right? That's a lot of data that we're keeping out there for the public, and we don't charge for it. It's all free.
But there's a ton of cool stuff that we do. Almost all of it touches technology. It gets integrated into pretty much everything we do with stewarding natural resources, with taking care of natural resources. And this is a very technology-hungry agency.
Right, so our software footprint is not small. We have scientists, we have firefighters, we have a meteorologist, as we pointed out, who needs his own suite of software. Only person in the agency that uses that particular set of software. How many apps did you say we have in the agency?
We have over 16,000 different apps on our desktops across the agency.
Right. I've worked at multiple state agencies. Usually we have a list of 20 that everybody uses. That is not the case at DNR. And we have a very small security team that has to review all of those requests, and then we have a 3-year cycle of re-reviewing all of our software.
And a lot of this technology is increasingly being used to fight wildland fire. We have over 600 firefighters. We had 868 fires last year, which was actually down from 2023. We had over 1,100 fires in 2023. And we track these things. We need to know because we're reporting to our federal partners, to local fire departments, county fire departments. When I go and I talk to somebody about, hey, there's risk because you haven't patched Microsoft Office, and they say, there's risk because I just jumped out of a helicopter to fight a fire with my bare hands, we're not on the same page, and that can be a difficult conversation, right? So we just started this cybersecurity program 3 years ago. We started at the beginning of 2022. One of the first things we invested in was a cybersecurity awareness program, and we went big on October Cybersecurity Awareness Month. This is a first-class holiday for us here at DNR. I'm really proud of our dorky crossword puzzles. I'm proud of our infographics. I'm proud of the short-form videos, and we're now doing the new vertical TikTok thing because we're young and cool, right? But the important thing is that we are delivering information directly to our customers because we want to have that conversation about risk, yes, even to the people that jump out of a helicopter.
So Ralph even makes me buy coffee cards for the winners of when they submit all of those things, and our engagement has gone up year over year because apparently those coffee cards are pretty popular. So when we first started, we both came to the agency 3 years ago. I is the operations manager, and Ralph is the security architect. Ralph was our first security hire ever in the agency. The agency, out of the 10 agencies of its size, was number 10 in vulnerability remediation. 3 years later, we're number 2. We have taken a very small but mighty team.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
And we have used minimal resources to really build our security infrastructure.
So in the beginning of 2022, we had 0 staff in cybersecurity. I came on in February. When I'm talking about growing a cybersecurity program in a short period of time, government work is not known for moving quick, but we got up to 5 positions in 3 years. I think that's pretty damn cool, and that's what we want to talk about today. So we also, Liz mentioned we're a small team. I think we also punch above our weight class. Looking at other similarly sized agencies, we have fewer staff, and I think we get more stuff done, and I think we have more fun doing it too. So how did we build this stuff so quickly? With the one ring, what the hell? No, I'm sorry. We built this so quickly by picking a plan and sticking with it, by building relationships using empathy.
By marketing with security awareness and building for the long haul.
So picking a plan and sticking with it, I know that when you think cybersecurity, you want to be sitting in a dark room with a hoodie on, typing away on your RGB keyboard, but a strategic plan is going to go a long way. So one of the first things that Liz and I did was sat down and said, what is the agency's strategic plan? How can we map this to cybersecurity stuff that we want to get done? What does it look like mapped to the IT plan? So we have this lineage from all the way what the agency says is important down to what cybersecurity says is important. We put that in the 3-year strategic plan, we make a 2-year tactical plan, and then every year we do the 1-year operational plan to the quarter saying, this is what we're going to get done, and this is how it maps back. I know that's not exciting cybersecurity stuff, but if you want to move the needle in an agency that doesn't care about risk, you've got to be able to talk about it at this level.
And honestly, that alignment with the strategic plan is how we sold this at the executive level. Because we were able to say, here, look, we are looking at what's important to you, and here's how we're going to support that. And that was how we were able, in a state agency where getting FTEs is not easy, to continue to grow this team.
Second thing, building relationships using empathy. That asterisk is there. Please come to our talk at 1 p.m. why empathy is the critical and underrated cybersecurity skill. We'll go into a little bit more detail there. But empathy is not like getting along. It's not good vibes. Empathy is a kind of understanding that gets us in a position where we can solve hard problems together. And it is a really, if you're not counting that as a KPI, if you're not asking people on your one-on-ones on your team, what relationships have you built today, how have you helped someone, then I think you're leaving some opportunity on the table. Let's do Q&A at the end just in case we turn into windbags and run out of time.
So,
Liz?
yeah, what I'd like to say about this is when the reason it took this agency till 2022 to hire their first security person is there was a belief throughout the agency that no was the answer security was going to give people, that security was there to be no. And so we have spent 3 years building relationships with people and letting them know that we are a path to yes. That is our job, is to get them to yes, not to give them a no.
Yeah.
So, marketing by security awareness training. One of the first things that we talked about is how did we implement security? How did we implement training? How did we talk to our end users? So one of the things we did is we started creating very small, very targeted trainings that we delivered to small teams. We take them to management teams. We take them to team meetings. We take them to operational teams. If you want to hear about it, we're willing to come talk to you. We do it in person. We do it over Teams. We do it live. We did not create videos and then tell everybody in the agency they had to go watch the video. We give them a chance to interact with us, to ask questions. And one of the things we do in that training is we really try to connect to the jobs that the people in our agency are doing. So you want to talk about butterflies for a second?
I always want to talk about butterflies.
All right.
So a very boring conversational topic taking to a team. Hey, your data is all over the place. There is some sensitive data in there. The state has a data classification. We're supposed to protect certain data. People's eyes are glazing over. And I say, remember the Oregon silver spot butterfly, which was extirpated in 1986, and there's only 5 sites in the world left? And we're preparing 19 sites in Pacific County to reintroduce this butterfly? Yeah, that's category 3 data, baby. That's endangered species location information. That's why we're trying to protect this information. That's why data categorization is important.
And I was in some of those meetings and people's eyes light up. Oh, I was part of that. Ooh, I did some of the data analysts on that. Yeah, they get excited because we're talking about what they're doing and we connect to them with that. And then the other thing that we have found is that, so we started talking about generative AI about a year and a half ago. What is it? Why is it important? Why are you seeing it in the news? What are we doing about it in the agency? And what we found is that people like to tell on themselves. And we had a group that said, oh yeah, we put this spreadsheet in ChatGPT. Yeah, that spreadsheet had a lot of PII in it. So we had some options at that point, right? We could yell at them, we could do some discipline, we could go to their supervisors. We still treated it as a breach, but we also took that opportunity to work with that team, to talk about why that was a bad idea, what they could do in the future, how do we change that behavior? So we took that opportunity to build that bridge rather than do discipline. Building for the long haul, sorry. So there we did a couple of things. So when I started, I was the operations manager and Ralph worked for me. But I knew that security didn't belong in operations. As it was in its infancy, it was a good place for it to be because I had experience with security and Ralph had experience with security, so we were kind of pooling those resources. But I knew that eventually I'd want it to be within its own structure. So I did things like create its own budget code, which in a state agency takes a little while. I did things like start building out PDs. What is this going to look like? What is our structure going to be? What positions do we need? And we slowly added those people. We finally got permission to create a CISO position, which I was the, de facto CISO, but I wasn't really. Ralph did all the work. So we now have an actual CISO position, which Ralph started in officially on the 16th.
Yeah.
And that position has now been moved out of operations. It reports to the CIO. And so there's a lot more visibility. And that gives Ralph the opportunity to work across the agency in a different role than when he was a security architect.
I want to underscore the importance of this administrative plumbing. I know that we want to secure all these devices. I know that DNR wants to have a secure footprint. But that doesn't happen without somebody doing the legwork of saying, let's write a good position description. Let's get that position filled. Let's do the hiring. Let's do all of that stuff. That doesn't sound like cybersecurity, but that administrative plumbing and that forethought allowed us to grow as quickly as we did in an agency not known for growing their cybersecurity very quickly. And then also we're implementing 11Zs by 2026.
That's my next vacation. That's okay. What that is.
It's gibberish. Anyway, in conclusion, good cybersecurity is not a checklist, it's about people. Unless your cybersecurity program is focused on people, you're going to have problems.
Well, it's a checklist. It just needs to include people.
Sure.
It's about collaboration and how stuff gets done. You have to build these bridges, and one of the things we talk about a lot is building the bridges before you need them, right? We have a new field engineer who just started, and she's been given the instruction to go out and just create relationships, go meet the people, go talk to them, because she needs to have, and she's actually right here in the crowd, when she needs to have those difficult conversations with people, she will already have that social lubrication and that trust built up.
And then bad cybersecurity happens in a vacuum. This was really clear to me when the MGM hacks and the casino hacks happened in Las Vegas, right? I gotta believe they had highly paid cybersecurity people that were paying attention to stuff, and that their CIS controls were all buttoned up. And somehow things that the business was doing drifted in a way that cybersecurity no longer had that visibility. They weren't partners, they weren't participating, and that's where those gaps come through. I really believe if you get in line with what your business is doing and you get out there and you know people and you find out what they're doing, then your cybersecurity is gonna fall in place. So yeah, come see us at 1 o'clock. We are open for questions and answers, but come see us at 1 to talk about empathy and cybersecurity. Thank you, folks. So I know you had your hand up. Let me bring the microphone just in case. And I've been told you need to speak into it like a snow cone. Perfect.
I think you kind of made the point. When you said empathy, I thought like business context or not the vacuum. Like I think it's like sounded like the same thing to me.
What do you mean?
Like empathy, people think of like emotional state and things like that. Whereas as you've described it, it's be aware of it's not just security. It's what does the business need to do?
Yeah.
I think totally.
Yeah. Come at 1 o'clock. Let's talk more about that. Anybody else?
Just curious about starting off with a small team. How did you partner with like external partners, or did you need to bring in external people to help assist with things, or how did that relationship work?
Yeah. Did everybody hear that question? Starting with a small team, how did you partner with people? How did you get the social juices flowing, right?
Well, luckily we had some incidents and technical debt that we got to start to chew on, to break our teeth on. And then, I was working at it kind of at a management level. I was working, I meet with all the managers across the agency on a regular basis. And I would do things like, hey, Ralph, could you write a little 15-minute training about generative AI, and can you come to these meetings? We can get your face known, we can talk about this, we can bring security in kind of a fun, interesting way to these teams. So it was really just taking every opportunity. We now have communities of practice, and we have multiple meetings that we present at. I bugged with our executives till I got the opportunity to do 5, 10, 15-minute presentations at our executive meetings. Any opportunity we have to get out there and kind of evangelize, we've taken.
Yeah, I just want to follow up on that. That security awareness training, I think of as a bit of a secret weapon. Most security training, all security training sucks. It's bad. And so to think, okay, I have an opportunity to sit in front of a business unit and lecture them about something, I'm going to make this the best 10 minutes that I possibly can. I'm going to center them in everything that I do. I'm going to make it about them. I'm going to research them. I mean, I did my OPSEC on that team. Like, what are they into? What work do they do? Because I'm going to make my presentation relate directly to their work. I'm going to make it interactive. I'm going to ask them questions right off the bat to make sure they're awake and not just do an email. That opportunity to give them security awareness training and just go hard on that, go all in on that, opened a lot of doors.
But no Lord of the Rings references.
No, zero. Yeah, you had a question.
One of the things that I've noticed is with working in a larger organization, a lot of the information security content and communication goes out anonymously, or it can go out with a name attached to it, right? So like, Malcolm wrote this thing, whatever. It helps to build community, I think, if my name's attached to it, but also it seems to attach to me more than the security team as a whole. Do you have any thoughts on how to kind of balance that?
I mean, I believe in attribution. I don't think things should come out from the service desk, from the help desk, from security without attribution. I think that there is an importance of learning who those people are and getting to know them even in a large organization. However, you're right, you don't want people to call you and think you're the whole security team. Yeah. So, my suggestion is that multiple people in the team have communication or OCM or whatever responsibilities, and they all use attribution, and that it comes out from a general email so that the response doesn't go back to one person.
Yeah, I don't know if I can speak to a large organization. How large is large for you?
8,000 to 10,000 people probably.
Okay. Yeah, I've never worked at any place that large, so I don't know that I could give you advice. I can tell you what worked for us. That same sort of problem for us is with out-of-state travel notifications, right? We use geofencing on our logins, and when people say, hey, I'm going to Florida, or I'm going to Ukraine, which happened last year, a couple of our folks went to Ukraine and needed special permissions. Do you redirect that to the generic cybersecurity email address when it's the same person who's replying every time? So for our organization, being known is important. We need to be visible because the organization doesn't want to worry about cybersecurity being a barrier. And so I encourage my staff, look, use the shared mailbox for that, but sign it with your name. The reply comes to that shared mailbox, but any of us have the possibility to pick that up and reply to it, and let's put our names in there, let's put our signature in there. And I will be honest, I did some micromanaging coaching about some of the initial emails because they came across as clinical. And cybersecurity that's clinical is cybersecurity it gets ignored. And so, jazz it up. Tell them, have a good trip. Ask them where they're going. It takes like 3 more minutes to have that email. It extends the ticket life another day and a half while the ticket stays open. But my boss isn't punishing us on ticket time yet, so we get to get away with that, right? Make it personable and make it memorable so that it's not a pain in the ass to say, I'm traveling to the Ukraine. It's like, oh, these people care.
And it's a good experience, so next time they'll tell us maybe 2 days in advance instead of the day after they left.
I think we got time for one more question. Do we have 2 more? Let's try to squeeze 2 more in. Let's do it. Let's go for broke.
I'll just talk from an operational standpoint, building this unit, how much did you have to rely on outside or external non-state constituencies to try to help make your case?
Can you repeat the question so it gets picked up?
So how much did I have to rely on non-state? Is that?
Yeah.
How
How did that play into your strategy for building this team up?
So my strategy is that I have spent 25 years in state service, and 20 of those have been working for an independently elected official. So I really kind of understand what motivates them. And so I wasn't really looking at outside of our agency. I'm very focused on in the state, in this political environment that we're in, what works for us. So I know the I know some
I'm
of the
sure we
buttons to
have some
push.
holes in our coverage, right? I was talking to some people this morning about AppSec, and I'm like, oh, damn. Yeah, there's some gaps there. I think for us, it was just doing the next right thing. Last question, how can I get there? I can throw it.
First of all, great presentation, thank you. As someone who loves both technology and the outdoors, I was just curious, how does your job kind of differ working with all of these environment technologies and this team at DNR from what might be a more corporate technology and cybersecurity job?
Yeah, so one of the weaknesses that we've had, and we talked about hiring this new field engineer, that's a big step for us. That's our most recent position, and it is going to give us the opportunity to send people out. And I'll give you an example. We did a pilot program. We're converting our fleet of vehicles to electric. And so we started to put charging stations in. We have over 200 sites around the state. And how is that going to get connected? Some of them in this pilot project were done cowboy style, and they're on the guest Wi-Fi. That's not the best way to build infrastructure, right? So sending our engineer out there to say, hey, your objective here is to meet people, have a good time, and get taken out to lunch. We need to build these relationships and then start talking about standardization and start. So in direct answer to your question, there's a ton of opportunities to go out there and meet people and see a lot of these sites. A natural resources agency is has a great hospitality for inviting, sure, come on out and see what we're doing in Forks. Come see what we're doing out in Colville. It's you'd love it. If you like the outdoors, if we had a position, we should hire you. It's a cool job. I think we're out of time. Thank you so much, everybody. Come see us at 1.